Hey everyone, welcome to my channel. In today's session, we'll be learning about shell scripting and in deep dive. Uh, I hope that you guys are somewhat aware of shell scripting and Linux. If you are not have the this necessary knowledge about Linux, you can check my past sessions. Now, if you already have Linux, some knowledge, you're good to go. And without wasting any time, I'll just get started right away. If anyone joining late, they can watch the recording from the beginning, but continue watching from now. Okay. I know it takes some time, say maximum 4 to 5 minutes, so that people get notification, get aware of it. So it's okay, not to worry. Okay, so let's get started. We will start with actually very basics of shell scripting. Okay. First, what exactly is shell scripting? So, a shell scripting is a computer program written in the shell programming language that consists of a series of commands to be executed by the shell. Now, in layman term or in normal language, if we speak about what exactly is shell scripting, you think about that you run Linux command, right? Like cat, like ls, like cd to change directory, like pwd to know the present working directory, and such, right? So why not like instead of typing manually, why not write a script to automate that such kind of things? You can create a file automatically if you have this script ready. You can dynamically create the files, or you have a script ready. You can say do some kind of repetitive task. So those things actually pretty easy if you instead of manually typing those scripting, not manually typing this Linux command, you can write a shell script to automate those tasks. We'll come to that. But just before that, in simple terms, we'll just again repeat. So, shell scripting is the method of scripting in shell. That means in your terminal, whatever you call it, all shell environment, okay? Like Linux environment or command line interface for automating tasks that could be performed manually, just like I explained. It involves writing commands and logic in a script file that can be executed by the shell script to perform various tasks. Now, here one thing I want you to understand. In Linux command and on shell scripting, one of the major difference in Linux command that you run one by one, very line by line manner. In shell scripting, when the command execute, it actually also execute the same way, line by line. But in shell scripting, you can add conditional commands or say conditional statements. You can add for loop. You can have any normal programming language that offer shell scripting offer the similar kind of functionality or functions to you, but it's a kind of a bit complicated than normal programming language, which is why the programming language exists and so many programming languages exist. If one thing could be done by shell scripting only, why there is a need of the programmings? So first understand why shell scripting and what it is, how it works. Then after you understand shell scripting really well, you will understand why there is a need of programming language as well. But be very patient. Today's session is going to be a bit long, but I want you guys to learn shell scripting in very deep dive, because if you want to work as a cloud engineer or DevOps engineer in general, or as a simple programmer, just backend programmer, for example, even this just front-end programmer also have requirement on this shell scripting. So everyone need it. That's why be very patient and learn slowly. Okay. Now, okay. So why to use shell scripting? I think that is one of the big question, right? So in shell script, I think let me just. I think it's a bit. Oh, now it's good. So why use shell scripting? That there are many reasons. We'll go by the main reasons here. Okay. First one. Okay. That automating of repetitive tasks. So shell scripting can be used to automate repetitive complex tasks, making it easier to manage and maintain system. Okay. What kind of, I mean, when talking about automative tasks, okay, suppose sending a mail, suppose creating some file, suppose repeated, you have too much logs, you can just move the logs to S3 or say other blob storage or object storage and clean up your normal computing, not computing, say your normal hard disk drives. In simple term, you can say you are cleaning a hard disk and moving all the logs or removing temporary files. All those things is repetitive tasks that you usually do manually. Instead of doing manually, you can use shell scripting. But yes, shell scripting is not limited to that. we make software builds, we make release deployment and everything. Most cases by shell scripting itself we are able to do all that. Okay, so it's not just limited to some maintenance task or automating, it is a lot more than that. We'll come to that as well a bit later. Now next, system administration. So shell script can be used to perform various administrative tasks, such as setting up a new user, managing big space, monitoring system performance. Monitoring system performance is one of the most important, because for example, you are running a one application, okay, and you need to know, like, that to run an application, how much CPU you need, how much RAM you need, how much memory or say big space you need. You need to collect all the information, right, for a particular application, like, or process. That is not possible if you don't know how to get the data done, get the data from the environment or system. So scripting help you to do automate all those tasks. Of course, fetching it, that of course after fetching you can send anywhere you like, or just print to the users. The users can see it. It can do all of this tasks. Okay. Improve efficiency. That shell script can be written to run faster than manual methods, providing improved efficiency and reducing the amount of time spent on repetitive tasks. So you don't have to do manual repetitive tasks, it's saving you time. Okay. Next, portability. Now, shell scripting can be run on various operating systems, including Linux, Unix, Mac OS, making it portable scripting language. So if you write a shell script, any Unix kind of environment, or maybe Linux, or think about Unix environment like Arch Linux, or say you can example Ubuntu or Debian, Red Hat, or say Mac OS, which can fully support the shell scripting environments. Mac OS kind of a fork of say Linux or Unix, you can say. It's just modified as per the user needs. Okay. Now integration with other tools. Now integration also means that shell script can be integrated with other tools and applications, providing the ability to create complex workflow and automations. Cost effective. Shell scripting is a cost effective method of automation. It does not require any specialized software or hardware. So it's simple shell scripting, simple commands that you run locally or you run in servers. So that's very easy to configure. You don't need a specialized hardware or software to do that. Every Linux support this kind of scripts. Okay. Improve accuracy. So by automating tasks, shell script can reduce the chance of human error, leading to improved accuracy and reliability. So when you are making command, for example, sometimes you run wrong commands and that can be problem, right? So all those can be avoided if you do shell scripting, which is you're already experimented, already tested every time. It's very secure, very fast, and less error prone. So it will be, of course, easier to do that, right? Next, the evolution of shell script, I will say. Now, how this shell script started, okay, and it's actually a very interesting point. So, in 1971, Unix operating system was introduced, which included the first shell called Thomson shell. Okay, after few years later, on 1979, the Bourne shell (SH) was introduced at the standard shell for Unix. Okay. And it became widely adopted as the default shell for Unix-based operating system. Then, on 1987, after a few years later, the C shell or CSH was introduced as an alternate to the Bourne shell, with some improve efficiency, improve say functionalities like C. C have so many features, right? So that features we wanted to introduce in the shell. That's why C shell was even introduced. Okay, and added new features, of course. Then on 1989, the corn shell came, or KSH in short. Now was introduced, which combined the feature of a Bourne shell and combined feature of a C shell. So you have both, best of the both worlds. Okay, and added new features such as arrays and job control. Then on 1991, okay, the bash shell, or in short, Bourne again shell. Now this is the most used shell environment that is available in every single Linux computer that you use these days. Be it server, be it your local machine, everywhere. Okay, local machine if you are running locally Ubuntu or such kind of system. Okay, now it was introduced as a free software for the original Bourne shell. It became the default shell for the many Linux distribution is still widely used in the market. So in the script that we write these days are also this born again shell or bash shell. Okay. Now in 1995, that Z shell or ZSH was introduced. Now it is actually a default shell scripting today's market for all the MacBooks, not for the Ubuntu, not for the Debian or Arch Linux, not for those kind of freewares, but for I think for paidwares as a specifically to the Mac OS, it become default for that. Okay. Some advanced features, some improve efficiency, some customizable prompt and spelling correction. You can see this kind of auto completion. All these features get added, which is a benefit. But it doesn't mean that in latest Linux, suppose you can have Z shell, you can have bash shell, you can have corn shell, or whatever shell you like, you can have all that. Okay. So okay. Now in the years since, shell script has continued to evolve and improve. With the introduction of new shell and addition of new features and capabilities, today the shell scripting is an essential tool for system administrator, developers, data scientists, and used in wide range of application and industries. Now, what is in it for me as a DevOps engineer or cloud engineer? See, as a cloud engineer, you have to maintain the systems, the servers running in a cloud environment, right? As a DevOps engineer, of course, you can have the responsibility of as a cloud engineer maintaining system as a wide system. You can do that by say Ansible or maybe all other programmings. But ultimately, there are tools in the market. But what they're doing, ultimately using those tools, you are remotely executing the shell scripts. Okay, and not just that, for maintaining some for backups, for say running any kind of batch job, any processing. You are ultimately using shell scripting for the Linux systems. Okay, so that's why, or even these days for CI/CD, if you are going to write a CI/CD, if you ever written a CI/CD for any particular deployment or build, I think you already have used shell scripting. If you don't know, but you still used it. Okay, so you already have done it. Now let's go to the next point. Now we are going to get started with some hands-on, of course. Now before even hands-on, let's understand a bit of the shell scripting, or we're going to call it shell scripting basics. Okay, so what it is. So a shell script is a plain text file. So normally you write a file or you create a file with .sh extension. Now in that you can have shells command, function, your custom logic like conditions and all, and can be executed in the shell environment. So you cannot just open the file and execute. No, you cannot do that. You have to execute all the shell scripting file in the shell or in the command line or in the shell environment in general. Okay. Now, the first line of the prompt is the hash, then not, then /bin/bash. Now, this last word, bash, it can be CSH, it can be KSH, it can be ZSH based on the environment you have to run your shell script or your commands. Okay. Now, this particular thing called shebang. Okay, so anyone in an interview, they ask you what exactly is the hell shebang. You say before running any script or say in the top of the shell script file, we write a particular statement, hash, then not, then /bin/, then bash, ksh, or say zsh, whatever it is. That exactly called shebang. We mention the shell environment there. Why the command, or which binary the command you should use, or which environment the command will use to execute. Okay. Now each command in the script will be executed in sequence. So of course line by line by line. It's not like the last line going to execute it first, then the first line. No, it doesn't happen like that. First line 1, then 2, then 3. This is how the shell scripting execute. Okay, shell script execute. Like a command by command basis. Now a command can be built-in shell command, or a command from a Unix based system, or a custom function or a script. So any executable binaries, what it mean by executable binaries, suppose you have already installed some programs or services such as Nginx, such as Apache, such as the VI editor, such as Nano editor, such as could be XYZ software that you install. If it's available, if it's executable, you can execute in a shell environment. Okay, so that's why you can do a lot of stuff. Okay. Now, in addition to commands, shell scripting also include logic like if else, like for loop, right? All this kind of logic, like file exists or not, like is the directory or file or not, a lot of things. I will come to that. Okay. Now, such as conditional statement, I already told you, like loops, control statement of the flow execution, make decision based on the result of the commands. You can do all this kind of stuff. Now, this script take a single argument, check whether it's a greater than 0 or output message accordingly. Yes, you guys will understand sooner or later. Now, shell script can be used to automate tasks such as setting up a development environment, deploying an application, processing data. To make the shell script executable, it must be executable permission using the chmod command. So what you have to do, you can write a file, okay? You can write a shell.sh file. Till you give that file a executable permission, it's not gonna execute. So you have to give that executable permission, and I will show you. Don't worry, if you have not done that before, I will definitely show that. Okay. Now, it is exactly chmod plus x, then the file name, giving the space in between. I will show you anyway. So once the script executable, it can be run by calling the script file in the terminal or using the // operator. So dot, then slash, then the file name. It can be able to execute that way. Okay. Oh, I know, a lot to intake, but go very slow. Now it's I wanted to cover the bash in a bit. Okay. Let's understand the bonding. I know, I already explained, but I want to go a bit deeper. Okay. So bash or a bond against shell is a type of interpreter that processes shell commands. Shell interpreter takes commands in plain text and calls operating system and services to do something. For example, there is a like ls command. If you do, it will list out all the file and directories, right? Now, shell scripting is writing a program for the shell to execute, and shell scripting is a file program that the shell will execute. So what happened? Like, what is meaning of shell scripting? It's shell scripting in the simple sense, executing the shell script files. And shell script files are what? Or that .sh file you write, there you add your commands and all the logics. That is a shell script file. So you have to understand the difference. Okay, shell scripting environments is different. It's just a command line or terminal where you execute commands or execute files, and shell script is the file where you write your logic and commands. Okay, that is the main difference. Now, okay. Now, shell scripting in scripting is any shell, whereas bash scripting is basically specifically the bash. Now, another very good difference, when I'm talking about shell script, it can be ZSH, it can be KSH, it can be any other say new shell scripting is introducing, it can be that. When you're talking about bash scripting, which we'll do today, bash scripting is particularly you are mentioning we're going to use the bash or bond against shell. Okay, that we're going to be using. Okay, in practice, however, shell script and bash scripting are often used interchangeably, because normal people are normally how we operate, we don't see much difference, because of course a bash scripting is also shell script, right? So that's why it's not much difference, but there is a big difference. Shell scripting can be any shell script. Bash scripting is only that bash. You give that hash, then not, then slash, bin, then bash. That is exactly bash scripting you're doing. Okay, that difference is important. It might get asked in different interviews, so it's good to know. Now, we're going to cover basic Linux commands, and these are pretty basics. Okay, we'll start with the left side first, then we'll go to the right side. So we'll slowly move to the right side, and I will show the example as well as we move forward. First, this command is first row. We need to know all these commands. Anyway, I covered actually in the last session. I'm not expecting everyone to go through all that. You can go later. If you already done, it's good. Not done, you check that later on. Anyway, I'm repeating, so it's fine. Now, PWD, to get the full path of current working directory. There is CD that navigates to the last directory, like CD dot means current directory, CD dot means the parent directory. Okay, and if you give CD then space to the particular path or particular directory, it will exactly let you or move you to the particular that directory. Okay, now echo, print the text to the terminal, or not just simple text. If we in shell scripting, like any other programming language, we can define variables. If you want to print the variable value, you can use the echo to do that. Okay, then we have cat or concatenate files and print them to the terminal. Simply to show files and concatenate multiple files, we use the cat command. Okay, then we have grep. Now grep is actually used for search, and you can search in pattern, in the regex format. A lot more advanced functionalities are there, but we are not going to jump into that for today. Let's go with a simple example later on. Okay. Then we have a short command. It short the lines of file or output. Then you have WC command. It count the number of lines, words, and characters in a file. Okay. Then we have head command. It print the first few lines of a file or output it. We can say tell it print the last few lines and print it. Then find, search for files and directory based on the various criteria that you pass on. Now, I'm not going to cover every single command that I said now. I will show you very quick examples. Okay, so let me show you that. Okay, so first is the pwd command. So if you see pwd, I'm currently in the /user/Sandip Das folder. Okay, now what if I make a directory mkdir, then say YouTube shell scripting demo. Okay, I'm creating a file. I'm getting a folder or directory, then I'm moving into it. Okay, so YouTube shell scripting. Now if you do pwd, you see its path change. So I'm currently in the new directory that I've created. Okay, the YouTube shell scripting demo. And see, we use cd to move to. I created the new particular directory. Then to move into this directory, I use the cd command. Okay, change the directory command. It's a short form of the cd. So change directory to particular directory. Now I want to move to, if you do cd dot dot, so say simple dot or single dot, it not moving to anywhere. If you see, it's still in this. So it's in the current directory. If you want to move to the parent directory, you do cd dot dot and do pwd. See, now we move to the parent directory. So you, as a system administrator or as DevOps engineer, we are going to use this to command actually a lot of time. Kind of make a habit of using these two commands. Okay. Now let's go to this. We covered that this basic commands. Echo. Let's go to the echo command, and it's actually pretty basic command, to be honest. Let's go. So if we do echo, for example, Sandip. This is my name, for example. Okay. It will just simply print equals like normal Sandip. If we say we defined one environment variable, for example, okay, say let's export Sandip is equals to Sandip Dal. Just pretty wild sample. Now we are exporting that variable. Now I want to this is an environment variable I'm exporting, right? I want to print this value, so I can do echo then $Sandip. See, it printed Sandip Das. So I can print normal text as it is. I can print not just any variable, environment variable or shell environment. We'll come to that a bit later. But just understand that you can do a lot of this kind of stuff. Okay. Now let's go. Let's go to the default scene. Okay. Now we already checked these things like basic commands. Now there is ls, there is ls-a, there is ls-f, there is ls-t. All these commands are there. Let me just quickly show the ls command. Okay, just list the directories. That's it. Just like the previous, you can see the previous session we did. We have this, right? So these are pretty basic commands. You can try on later on also. Like nothing new. In last shell scripting session, I already covered that, so nothing new to show. Let's move it to the actual stuff. Okay, where we're going to do that shell scripting. Real shell scripting part. These are all basic commands. I don't want to waste too much time on this. Okay. Now let's quickly go. Yeah, actually, the second part of basic Linux command, but I want you guys to understand this permission groups very minutely or very say focused way. Okay. So in just Linux environment in general, you create file and you create directories, right? Now when you create, what is the default permission? If you're not aware, let me create and show you. If you create a file or folder, what will be your default command there or default permission level? So let's clear the screen, and for example mk, it's a touch sample file, okay, .txt. Now actually we should do the YouTube, yeah, there, touch sample.txt. If we do ls-l, it will show the list of directory, and not just that, you will see the permission level. So first three characters represent the owner permission. So first dash, it represents the directory or not. Then next three represent the owner permission. Then second three character represent the group permission, and last three represent the other permission. So whoever other entities are. Okay. So I am the owner. So it's read and then it's write. It's still not executable. So when you create file, the executable permission not be given by default. Always remember that part. Okay, termination. Okay, sorry. Just a moment. Let's happen. Okay. Now I hope it's visible. So yeah, here what I did, I simply created a sample.txt file using touch command, touch sample.txt. Then if I do ls-l, you will see it lists out the files that I've created. So mainly sample.txt. There, if you see first character, it represents, is it a directory or sample? So let's get a directory and see. Let me show you. mkdir sample sample dir. I hope the okay is visible now. So ls-l, you see first word saying if it's empty, that means file. If it has the d, that means a directory. Then after that first character, next three characters represent, is it owner, like what is the owner permission? So read, write, and this one is blank, so I don't have executable permission by default. Then next three represent the group permission. So read only, it doesn't have a write permission, doesn't have a executable permission. Then we have this, like the last or others. Next, say the next three, it has read and only read access, no write or no executable access. Now if I want to give this particular file, the sample.txt, say executable permission, okay, then I can do chmod plus x, then the file name, and see ls-l. Now it's saying executable, see x. So executable permission added for everyone. Now I want to remove, suppose this particular permission, chmod minus x sample.txt -l, and see it removed that executable permission. So this is how you can simply add. There are many ways, and we'll be covering all that as well. Okay. Let's see, I think some. Okay, I think it's now visible, so it's fine. Now let's go. Okay, yeah. So now let's understand this. This one is very carefully. Okay. We can add permissions, and we can remove permissions, right? Now the chmod commands handle all that. Now you cannot remember like exactly what permission level should be there. Okay, let me just hide myself so that I can show you this particular thing. Now if you give we can, instead of just adding a plus x, minus x and all that, we can give the numbers. Okay, so numbers in what sense? We can give decimal numbers, like say 0, which means no permission, 1 means execute, 2 means write, 3 means write plus execute, 4 means read, 5 means read and plus execute, 6 means read plus write, and 7 means read, write and execute. Okay, so these are the permission level we can give. Now remember the numbers. Okay, this is very crucial, because you will be, if you're going to be working as Linux and DevOps engineer, when giving the permissions to the particular file and directory, this number is gonna play a very good role there. Okay, so the first stuff, then like say 0 means nothing, 1 means execute, so and 2 means write. Now for the say, and 4 means read, and 5 means r plus x, that means read and write. 6 means 4 plus 2, that means read plus write, and 7 means 4 plus 2 plus 1, that means 4 of this read, 2 of this write, and 1 of this execute. So just remember this numbering and you will be very good shape. This one, say 0 for nothing, right, and 1 for execute, 2 for write, 3 for say 2 plus 1, that means write and execute, 4 means read, right, this way. Now of course this very hard to understand, let me explain in shell. I think that will be much more easier that way. So let's go to the shell again. Yeah, I'm making sure that first I make the shell visible, then only I change the prompt. Okay, let's clean this up a bit. So I have this particular, say, one file and one directory, right? So first let's make some this numbering part that I just explained. I want to make sure this particular file should be not readable, not be writable, or not be executable by anyone. So what I will do, I will do chmod, then 0 means nothing, right? So 0, first 0 represent the owner, second 0 representing the group, and third 0 representing the other. So it's 0 here, but it can be any number, and again number part I will explain again just for the make understanding very clear. So when I'm giving chmod 0 means no permission, so 000, so nobody should have any permission. Now the file name I have to give it the very end like this, and if I do ls-l, see all becoming blank, isn't it? So nobody have write permission, nobody have the read permission, nothing, right? So that's how you can change permission. Suppose I want to make this file readable by all. Now to make it readable, let's go back again to this. You see, to make readable you have to give 4, right? So let's go back again to the shell and try that. So chmod then 444 and then give the file name. Let's give the file name and do ls-l. See, it became readable by everyone. Same way, for example, we try the next particular thing, that is write. I want to make it writable by everyone, not the readable. Okay, so and what is the numeric value for that? It's 2, right? So let's make that one, or let's try that one. chmod 222, then give the particular file name, and see now if we do ls-l, which is listing the directories, see it's only readable, right? Now I want to give everyone read and write access. What should I do? So 4 plus 2 is what? 6, right? So if we do chmod 666, then give the particular file name, and see the magic, ls-l. Everyone had read access and everyone had the write access. Now I want to give the executable access also. What should I do? I have to now let's go to the table again. Let's go to the table, and what is the value of the execute? The execute value is 1. So I have 6, which represents read and write. Now to make it read, write and executable, I have to add a 1, right? So the 7, which is 4 plus 2 plus 1, right? So let's go to the shell and run chmod, then 777, then give the particular, okay, like this, and do ls-l, and you will see it have the read, write and execute permission. Now one of the very I would say very famous example that is, I think you guys may already seen, that is the that if you work with EC2 instances, when you create EC2 instance, you create a key for that also, right? And you have to make sure that key is only readable by as only the owner or you, the ones creating it, and it should not be accessible by any group or any other people. And AWS make sure you do that. Before that, they will not allow you to access the instance, right? And what is the exact command? If you remember, it's 600. If you remember right, okay. Now what that means? 6 in the sense read and write only for the owner. First 6, second 0 represent the 0, that means group should have no access, and third 0 represents that other users or anyone should not have access. That is the 600. Now what happens if we do 600? Let's see in the practical. So suppose I have a file called aws key.pem. That's a PAM file usually, right? Now, if you do that, that's actually very clear. It's too much clutter. This way. Yeah. So that AWS key.pim. If you have that, say IAM key, okay. Now, not IAM key, just that certificate key. Okay. Now, I want to write what is the permission. So everybody have the read permission, but that's not ideal. AWS will not allow you to use the key or to use this particular key permission level to access any instance. They ask you to do 600, right? So chmod 600 first represents the owner of the particular file, second one represents the group, and third one represents the particular other group. So the moment I'm making 600, then let's see. I think Guru was saying that, right? It's could be 400. Okay. So let's 40. I will come to that. But for example, if you do have been 600, that means what? Then AWS key.pem, then AWS AWS-L. It should be read write. I think what Guru said could be right, that it's 400. If it's 400, right, then what will be the permission level? Then 4 represent what? Read only, right? So chmod 4, that represents the owner. So owner, we are setting permission for the owner. Second 0 represent for the other group, or say not other group, it's group, and third one represents other. So 400, then particular say any file name, then paste it. Sorry, typo. Chmod. Yeah, if we do that, ls-l, you see it's the read only permission. So nobody, even owner also can write it. If you use sudo, then the permission doesn't work. That's suppose you see that sudo able to change. Yes, sudo is the like root user, or say the most powerful user in the Linux, right? They can do it. One question is there. It will be available after the session. Yes, it will be available. So no worries. Okay, so that's how the permission works, and I want you guys to understand. Anyway, you guys will have this document available with you. You can anytime refer to it, no problem. Okay, but make sure that you guys do remember this one. This numbering part, if you remember, you will in your life never face a problem with file permission. At least like when I started in the beginning, I had so much issues in this particular permission level. I was setting file permission level wrong, and sometimes working, sometimes not working. It's a hell. Later, when I understand this permission very well, I didn't face this kind of permission issues after that one. Okay, now. Okay, echo command, I want to just touch a little bit base with it. I already explained. So echo command in a shell scripting is used to display text or the value of variable on the screen. On the screen, it is simple way to print output in the shell script. Okay, now some few examples. See that hash, then not sign, then slash bin bash. That's the shebang part. It's a common for every script that you write. Okay, then print a simple message echo. That means echo, you're echoing hello world. So in the screen, the moment you run echo hello world, it will show the word hello world in the screen. It's just outputting to the terminal. That's it. Okay, and if I show you the variable part also, if you add any variable, it simply print that one. Okay, so this not put too much time in, but echo command you will be using a lot actually. Okay, so get used to it. Read command. Now we guys now understand, right, that shell script more or less in command line you will be operating, right? So suppose you want to take some input from the users. How are you going to take that input? You're going to use this read command. Now the read command in shell script is used to read input from the users and stored in variable, and the input can be entered by user through keyboard or redirected from a file. It could be anything. It could be just input from other file, or could be user input, but in most cases is the user input. Okay, and you can see in the shell example where suppose you're asking, say, echo enter your name, and in the script you are saying read name. So let's quickly create a file and let me show you an example. Okay, otherwise you will definitely forget that one. So let's go to the shell environment. Hopefully it is visible shell. Yes, you can see the shell now. Let's clear the screen a bit and let's create a file. Okay, and of course when creating a file, always remember is that let's say touch, use that command to quickly create an empty file, touch, then say sample, or say read example .sh. So .sh file, I mean .sh you have to add, do that, and then use nano. You can use nano editor, you can use v editor, whatever editor you are most comfortable with, go for that one. I like the nano editor, so I'm going to use the nano. Then this one. Now always give hash, then this, then bin bash. Always make it a practice, okay? Because we are running a bash script. Now echo, enter your name, okay? The moment you show the echo, that means in the script, if you execute the script in the screen, it will show echo, you enter your name. Then read, okay? We're using read command, and whatever the input the user enter, we need to store the value in a variable, okay? So, and the variable name we put after the read. So read space, then say the variable. The variable here is name. It can be XYZ, ABC, whatever it is, okay? Just up to you. But you should give a meaningful name for the variable. Here I'm giving name, or say username. Okay, I can do all these things. So username, and then I'm going to print echo your name is $name, the username. Right, now let's exit this and save it to ls-l, and see it's created this particular read example. Now if you need to execute now, okay, it will not work. If you try to execute, it will not execute. You will have permission denied and all this kind of stuff. Now to execute it file, we have to run chmod +x. You remember I told at the beginning of the session itself that if you want to execute a file, you have to make the file executable, because see, the file permission level is the x is there, no, right? Sorry, not this, read example. So there is no x, right? X represent the executable permission level. So let's make it executable, then give the file name here, see, and then try to execute it. So read example.sh. See, now it's asking enter your name, isn't it? So enter my name, Sandip Das, for example, and your name is Sandip Das. It's printed that. So this is a pretty basic sample. We'll be doing a lot more in next slides or phases. Okay, let's go back to that. So we'll learn about read. Now let's start common operations in scripting. We are coming to the main part now. Okay, this is the main part. Now, not one, but there are a lot of main parts, to be honest. Now, variables. What are the variables? So variable in shell scripting are used to store values and can be referenced later in the script. Okay, anywhere you can refer. After you define a variable or assign some values, you can use anywhere. Okay, in shell scripting, variables are defined by assigning a value to a name. Here's an example, like you can see there, okay, that name is equal to John Doe, and even I show you multiple, like the read, then the variable name, and then printing the variable name, right? Now, in this example, see variable name is like name is equal to John Doe. It can be anything. Now there are two kind of variables. Okay, environment variable. You remember that export command I tried. Export name is equal to Sandip Das, right? And it can be user defined. In the last example, for example, or in this example, that. So yeah, user defined variables where you are defining variables of yourself, and then like you are entering, you are putting the value or getting the value from users, like that. Okay, now variables in scripting are case sensitive. So for example, you write a variable name A in caps, then B in small and C in small, okay, whatever it is, like A then B C. You assign a value. Now if you have to print all in small, it is not going to work. It's case sensitive. Exactly how you have defined the variable, you have to use that variable in that same way only. For example, let's come to the shell script and let's see how it works. Okay, so let's clear the screen, and because I don't like the client script, to be honest. Now let's write a file dot say sample.sh. Okay. Now let's write a first, always make it a practice. It's a very good practice to have. Okay, bin bash, right? Then you write your logic. Say I'm assigning A B C. It's a variable name. Okay, or say sample. See, I'm using V in caps and then variable. Okay. some value. Okay, I'm giving some values, like it could be x, y, z, whatever it is. Okay, doesn't matter, anything you want to give. Now I have defined how. I have defined sample all in caps, all in small, and v in caps, and then all in small. Now if I try to print this echo, then this particular, this one, just instead of making it cap, I'm making all small. What will happen? So let's see. Oh, always remember, you have to give the dollar. I do that mistake a lot. So yeah, always when you are echoing, or you're reusing, or you're echoing any variable, always use the dollar. Otherwise, it's not gonna work. Anyway, so this is not gonna work because I'm using wrong variable name. So let's save it, and always make sure that you execute, make the file executable. Otherwise, it will not work. Okay. And then just do dot, then slash, then sample.sh. See, nothing, right? It's because the variable doesn't exist, so it will print nothing. Now let's go back and go to this particular file and edit it. Instead of sample, instead of this small case of v, let's make it capital. Now if I go and execute again, it print the value, some value, then some random string. Okay, so in shell scripting, when you are giving values, make sure that, or you're defining variables, make sure that the variable name that you have used, you're reusing the same thing. Otherwise, you see. So best practice, I will say, either use all in small or either using all in cap. Normally, when you defining the environment variables, we use all in caps. Okay, and for my say easiness, I can say. Otherwise, I cannot later on see the difference between what exactly coming from the environment and what exactly coming from the what we are defining. Now for that I make sure when I'm defining the environment variables, all in caps, like say PORT, all in caps, PORT underscore number, all in caps. For example, note env, all in caps. And but when you're defining say username, say any other user defined variable that I use, I make sure that all in small. So it's up to you, but I use that as a practice. Okay. We are going good. Yeah, this one. Now, in string, actually, not just in case of shell scripting, but any programming language, string related operations are huge. Many. Say substring, say concatenating multiple strings, say you have 4 string, you're joining of a string. Suppose you want to check the string length, suppose you want to join multiple, you have multiple array, you are joining multiple array into single string. You can do all that operations using string operations. Now, I'm not going to go through every single stuff. I'm going to share this document after the session anyway. You can try it. Okay, I want you guys to try it. Here, I'll just go with the definition a bit, and then some operation that you should be very careful when going through. Okay. So in shell scripting, the strings are the sequences of characters that are used to represent text. String can be assigned to variables, passed as argument to commands, and used in various way of throughput or a script, or just showing output and all that. Okay. Now, when you define variables, say you give this double quote, right, or single quote, that's how you define the script. Strings. So if you don't give that one, what will happen? For example, I think that will still work, but sometimes if you have variables and then string, it create problems. Okay, so it's a good practice when you are defining a string value to a variable, always use that double quote or single quote. Okay, that's a good practice. Now you can see here, you can do substitution, you can slice it, you can do range from one character to one character. You can do all the stuff. I'm not going to go very deep in that. You can do that. Here you can see an example that you can join strings. If you're coming as array, you can join the string and all that. You can do all this kind of stuff. Now, what important here while joining the array part and all that, see, I'm using ifs command. Now, it might not be important now, but while we'll be working on real life script, this become very important. Okay. So again, I'm not going to go through every single command. It takes a lot of time. I know everybody doesn't have the patience, so I will not test your patience today. Just make sure that you see all these commands and all these operations are going to be very useful when you're going to write the shell script. Okay. Importantly, check this length part. you're using the hash command, hash, then the particular variable, for example, you can check that particular string's full length. Okay, all this commands are important, but some length command, replacing string, you want to replace some particular word and all that. Say name, this is the variable where you're assigning John Doe. I want to change this Doe part with Smith, so I will simply use slash, like name, the variable name, then slash, then what character I want to replace, Doe part, so Doe, then slash, so the target string that you want to replace with Smith. So it will, instead of become John Doe, it will become John Smith. So this part you guys can later on try in your shell and you experiment and let me know if you guys face any issue. Okay, I'm not going to do all this execution for today. Command substitution, I think this is one of the very important stuff. Okay, what exactly it is. So command substitution is a feature in shell scripting that allows the output of the command to be substituted in the place of command itself. In other words, it is allow you to capture the output of a command and use it in other script. Okay, so what exactly it means? Very easy. You can write lot of commands, you can run lot of commands. Suppose you want to store or you want to somehow store the value in some database or save in a JSON file. What to do? You have to store that value somewhere, right, of the particular command. So you are running a command and instead of showing it to the screen, you want to store in a variable and then print, not just print, save the variable data somewhere. You can do all this stuff, right? In those cases, this command substitution will come very handy. And how you can do command substitute? There is two way. Okay, there is not single way, two way. First one, or the most recommended one, was the backtick. There is a backtick symbol, right? So using this backtick, you can use the command substitution. So this form of command substitution uses backticks to enclose the command that you want to substitute. The output of the command will be the result of the substitution. For example, you see in the example here, result ls then s, it will simply list out all the directories with the permission level. Now instead of showing the result directly, we are storing in a variable called result, and that we are simply echoing. It can be any kind of command. Okay, say pwd. Let me give an example, very quick example. I think this part many might have the trouble understanding. So cst, command substitute. Okay, I'm just shorting it a bit. Okay, I don't like writing long files names. Okay, so cst command substitution .sh. Now good practice, always do it. In the beginning I was not that good practice guy, but I had to make it practice, otherwise big issues started coming. So yeah, now if we do run say pwd, what will happen? Let's see. Say let's make it executable, make your kind of like a breathing, make your practice to do chmod mod plus x, then the file name. Kind of a, it has to be out of anytime you do shell scripting, it's here by default. Then try to do that. See, if you do that, it's simply printing the directory path. pwd simply output the current directory path. But instead of showing directly like this, I want to get that particular path and store in a variable. Maybe sometime I need to reuse this particular variable, right? Say I'm going to any other path, and then I want to come back to this particular path for any reason. In CI/CD or say continuous deployment, sometime you have to go to XYZ folder, do run build. After the build success, then go to Z folder, do some kind of configuration, get some configuration there, then do some processing, and then again you have to go back to the root folder. But if you don't know what exactly was the starting point, where to go, right? So you can use this kind of way to store the value of a particular command. Say pwd, I can store the current starting point directory name, and anytime I can come back to this particular point, right? Let me show you in a scripted way. I think that will start making more sense. cst.sh. So pwd was showing output, right, previously. Now if we do use backtick sign, okay, this one is the backtick sign, pwd, then we store it the current dir. Okay, now what will do? It will store the pwd command output into this particular variable, right? Now if I say move to any other say cd dot dot, what will happen? It is moving to some other directory, right? Now I want to come back to again to current directory, right? How to do that? So cd, then dollar, then current directory. So what will happen? Even I move to whatever directory, I move back again to my current working directory. Now if I do pwd, you will see it will still be the current working directory. Okay, so let's see how this works. So .cst.sh, that's done. See, I did that particular cd dot. Now if I didn't store the parent or say my main I didn't store the main directory, the starting directory, what could have happened? Let's go and try that one. So nano cst dot, like I do love the nano editor, by the way, after the VS Code. So if I didn't do this one, and I think this is good. So what will happen? Say execute it. I'm in the users folder, right? So that works. I store the value of the main directory as a in a variable as a command output, and then I reuse it to come back to the particular directory like this. So this is one of the very good use case of this command substitution. There are n number of examples, to be honest. I don't even remember how many, to be honest, but you just make a starting point. This could be a starting point. Then you find out what are the more innovative way you can use it. Okay. Yeah. Okay. So we are good. We covered this command substitution. Pipe command. I think another very famous command. If you work as a Linux engineer before, or if you have done system administration, pipe command is like a blessing. You do XYZ command execution, and whatever the output you are getting, you are supplying to the next command. That's what the pipe does. So let's go by the definition a bit. So a pipe in shell scripting is a feature that allow you to connect two or more commands and pass the output of one command to the as an input of other command, like just I explained. Okay, it is represented by the pipe symbol. Okay, now in this example, if you see ls command list all the list of folders and files and directories, right? Now I want to just list out the .txt file, not sh file, not other things, right? How we do that? So we can use the combination of ls, and you can use combination of grep. Grep means what? Grep for searching output, right? Searching that whatever the output or text and give us the particular matching result. Okay. So we are combining two particular commands to get our intended output. Let's try that. I think it's a very interesting one. So let's go. And I'm making sure that sys is visible first. I will not repeat the same mistake again. Now, so let's see whatever the data we have. We have sh file, we have text file, we have .sh file, temp file, but I just want to get the txt file. Okay, so let's write a shell script nano let's give the file name search, or say pipe example .sh. Okay, now there always good practice this bean bash, then you do ls command. You will see first it will list all the echo all files directories. Now if we do ls then pipe then grep.txt, I think that is the command, I guess. Yep, that is the command. So but before that, let's echo filtered list via pipe. Okay, if we do that, now let's make it executable. That's a good practice to have. Now let's run it. Pipe execute. See, first it printed all the files and folders. Okay, see, it printed all the files and folders. Then when I use the pipe that command, it simply only outputted the sample.txt. So that's how you can filter the data as required, right? So this is just one quick example of how to use this kind of pipe. There are n number of, I can say limitless number of use cases when you work as a DevOps engineer, cloud engineer. will just amazed how amazing this kind of small command make the differences. This is just the beginning. I'm saying just get started, practice, you will find out more. Okay, now let's move to the next command. Lot to cover yet. Conditional statements. I think this is the heart of programming. If you are programming, if you are putting the logic in something, that means that these things, now this all this programming. What is programming, by the way? Is it programming running commands, running some script? No, you are not doing mindlessly. You are putting programming, condition, logics or business logics, and you are making this functional. If the output is coming as A, it should do X number of operations. If the input is coming as B, it should do N number of operations. So you are doing some kind of operations, some kind of processing, some kind of job based on output, based on conditions. So that's why conditions is so important, because if you didn't have the condition, I will not even call it a shell scripting, right? So the background coil sound is adding. Oh yes, it's in the nature. Okay, now condition. Let's come with the definition part. Conditional statements are a fundamental part of shell scripting. Not just shell scripting, to be honest, any programming language. These conditional statements are the heart of the programming. Now, allow you to control the flow of the script based on the outcome of certain conditions. The most commonly used conditional statements in shell scripting are if else, if else, if else. Okay. Now, as a kind of a de facto standard when you're writing shell scripting, you have to make sure that if you're opening a if, you must end with a file. This is what I'm talking about. If you see here, if you're adding a condition, so if the file exists, if third brackets -e, then the file path exists, then echo file exists, but at the end you must give the fee. Similar way, if you are say you are doing the else if statement, okay. So if you are giving a condition that file exists, then file exists, else, you see, after the if block completes, else echo file does not exist, then also you have to in the end give the fi, or say ending of the particular condition. This in a shell scripting, this is programming language, kind of programming language where it has its own certain criteria. So this is the criteria for if else statement. Now what if the if else, and then you can have if, then other 100 ifs if you want to add, for example, or any number of if condition you want in a series of ifs, like if a is equal to 10, else if a is equal to 2, if a is equals to 100, whatever it is. This kind of multi if statement, here you can do that easily via elif. So if dash f, then checking that file exists or not, then yes, file is a regular file. If like an elif, okay, elif, then you're checking dash d. Okay, if it's not a file, then checking is it a directory, then it's printing file is a directory. If it's not file, if it's not a directory, then of course the file doesn't exist, nothing is there, right? So let's check this particular command in our normal console and see what happening. Before going to that, okay, I want to cover a bit of here, because otherwise you let me hide myself. I don't want to show my face and block the commands. So check the commands, guys. Okay, so here the commands. The z string is check the string is empty or not. N string checks is it not empty or not. Equal check is equal or not equal sign, see, not and then equal means not equal, exclamatory equal, that is like this is a very common one, you guys already know. Not equal, then dash eq check is it equal or not. Dash any check not equal or not. Dash it check less than. Dash le dash ld check less than. Dash le check that less than or equal. Dash gd check the greater than. Dash g check the greater than or equal. Okay, then you have this regular expression check, now less than condition, option name conditions, and all this, not and or, all these things. You can have the file conditions like dash f file exists or not. Dash r check file readable or not. Dash h check file symlink is there or not. Dash d check file directory, like it's a directory or not. Then this dash w, then the file name or path, check the is it writable or not, then dash s file, check the size is still like, is it an empty file or is it have something, all that. Then this dash f file, check the x, check the is it executable or not, dash f, check the file or not, like this condition. Okay, here that's using this particular condition, that dash f, is it a file or not. Then see, there are other example like the file, then dash ef, checking same file or not. And you see the basic example, more example also I've given here. Okay, like if the string is empty, then echo string is empty, else if, like I've given both examples. Okay, first is the file example and this one is the normal string example. Okay, I think you guys, as a homework, I think you guys should try this yourself instead of I do all the execution. It's very easy, you guys try and do it yourself. I'm not gonna show every single stuff I'm explaining, you guys try. I'd love to see that. If you guys face the issue, do let me know. I can just create a separate, like a short kind of stuff. If you guys face the issue, I can make a shorts. Okay. By the way, I'm just shooting from my new studio, so some echo might happen. Things are still empty. Okay. Yeah. I think another heart of the programming, loops. See, you want to go to say 100 miles. Okay. If you want to go by walk only, it takes a lot of time. If you go by some kind of car or bike, what happens? You go faster, right? So kind of repetitive things. If you do one by one execution, it takes a lot of time, right? What if I know the pattern, I can make a loop which will go faster. So of course use loop, right? So which can go faster. So what are the loops actually? Loops are the key aspect of shell scripting or any programming language in general that allows you to repeat set of commands multiple times based on certain conditions. Now, the two most commonly used are shell scripting are the for loops and while loops. In for loop itself, you have three kind of for loops, okay? Not just three. Now, as the things developing, it can be any number of loops. But in general, in terms of learning basic loop, see, first is for basic, you have this loop throw, say for I in 1, 2, 3, 4, 5. You can do echo print, you can create directories if you want, and then after you're done with that, use it done. So here, as a mandatory stuff, if you are starting a for loop, make sure that you give this colon, okay, semicolon, and then use this do statement. After the do statement, you write your set of commands, set of business logic that you want to put. Then in the done means this done. After that, no execution happens. So this is your execution block. This is your starting. This is your ending. In between, you to put your logic. Okay. Now, then you have a C-like loop. So in C-like for loop, if you have ever tried the C programming language, you have this like for I is equal to 0, I less than 100, I plus plus, and then do stuff, then done, right? So here you can do the similar. Done part was not there if I'm right. Here you have to add done. So this is the syntax for shell. If you are opening using a for loop like a she statement, so for I is equal to 0, I less than 100, I plus plus, do whatever you want to do and done. Okay. Now ranges, you can do ranges like for I in 1 to 5. I'm assuming 1 to 5. You can do 100, you can do 1000, whatever number of times you want, you can do. I think one of the very good example of all this, suppose you want to suppose you are going to use the AWS CLI, for example, okay, and via the AWS CLI you want to create 100 instances. How are you supposed to do that? Via the shell scripting. You run through a for loop 100 times. It's a one by one command processing. Like till the processing is done, it will not move to the next thing. So it will slowly process all the 100 to create the 100 instances. And if you want to delete it, you can do again loop. You run the loop, similar kind of loop statement, and you delete your 100 instances. I want you guys to try that concept. You don't have to do 100. It might cost you a bit more. And even AWS will not allow you to do that. Instead, you use only 5 instances. Like you use this particular statement instead of echo welcome. Like I'm printing the variable and all. Instead of printing all that, what should you do? So if you go to AWS and search for AWS CLI, then create instance, you will get the command. You try that here. Before that, of course, you have to configure AWS CLI local. You do handle all that stuff. Okay. Then you see that there is basic while loop is there, which is kind of again similar thing. While then you have a particular condition. Now while statement actually very special type. it will keep continuing till the condition satisfied. So while then this condition till it satisfied, it will keep going and going. Okay, same case actually happen for loop, but for loop is less chance of infinite loop because you mention the range, okay, and you usually go by that route. But in while loop, till the condition matches, it will keep going and going. So in shell scripting, I have seen many cases where people running while loop, and in the condition somehow it gone wrong and it's creating memory crashing and this kind of issues. So while using while loop, you have to be very, very cautious that if you're going to use while loop, you must have some kind of condition check that will exit the loop. For example, here what is the condition? For $I less than 5, right? Now, if you never increase the $I to 1 by 1, what will happen? This loop will keep going on till your memory is full, till things are not working anymore. Then you restart, or maybe next kill the process and all. Then only it will be workable. So don't go to that route. It's better if you add a logic to increase and exit the while loop statements. Okay. So here is one very good example I want to mention here. Read lines part. See, when reading file, okay, if you have a file of say 100 lines, so, and this is a very good example of this pipe sign. You remember when we are getting the output of a particular command and reusing that as a kind of input of a particular command. So here we can do very innovative stuff. So you use the cat command to read a file, and whatever the content it had, pass on to the while, and what will the while do? It will keep reading. So while will keep reading, like while read line, keep reading and do echo $line. So it will print the line, and when the line become empty, there's nothing to print, it will be done. So you can do all this kind of statement as well. Again, do try these things, it will be very good. Okay, I'll be sharing the document after the session. Do feel free to download, share, try. Even what I want, you guys should go ahead and create a repo in GitHub. I ask the same thing to my paid student as well. Do go create a repo and do post this kind of work there. I'll check only there, otherwise I'll not check. Okay, so even you are watching YouTube, you are learning from here, you go and try all this command, all this statement, try all this, save in GitHub. If you are facing issue, or if you are done already, simply tag me in LinkedIn or wherever you are going to post, Twitter, I don't care. I will simply go and check. Okay, if you face an issue, I will also check that one as well. Okay, so we are in the one of the best thing programming software use function. Now the essence of function is code reuse. You write once a function, you use it whenever you require. You don't have to write the function again. That's just once, that's it. So what are the function? In simple term, function are a way to organize and reuse a code in shell script. And again, not just shell scripting in general, for any programming language. And a function is a self-contained block of code that can be called from other part of the script. So you have, say, you written a function in the very top of a shell scripting file, okay, and you want to call the function anywhere in the file, anywhere, okay, you can do that, because function will not execute itself automatically. It will not do that until you program that way. In normal sense, if you write a function, it will not be executed till you execute it, till you call it. Okay. So here you can see I'm writing a function myfunc, then I'm defining say echo, then okay, here very interesting stuff. If you are passing the parameter, okay, $1 means first parameter, $2 means the second parameter, $3 means the third parameter. This is how we parse the parameters. Okay, and here is a very basic example I've given. Say your another homework is actually doing a calculator script. Okay, so what you guys see, the function statement, first the function name, or you can use function command or just normal function, any way you want. There are two ways. Then function, then the function name, in braces. Inside the braces is the code block, okay, where you add your logic. I'm storing, for example, here $1 plus 2, whatever parameter I got, I'm adding those two values and storing in result, right? And I'm echoing, or in shell scripting, the way you return is use the echo command. So echo, then the variable, the result will get returned to the when you are calling, okay? And you use this substitution, right? There you can parse the particular value and you can reuse as you like. Now I want you guys to, it's okay to Google search and all this while learning. Try to build the calculator by yourself and then store, like share in LinkedIn, share anywhere. Like, okay, I'm learning self scripting. I do develop a very okay in calculator also. You can make it as complicated as you like. Start with something very basic and then put some kind of more logic to it. Okay, and there are you see in self scripting, it's always parse integer. So if you want to work with some kind of decimal values and all, make sure there are certain libraries. I will not name it. You search, find. If you don't find, then only come to me. I will tell you. In the next advanced session, I will be explaining all the mathematical libraries. So you can go and use all that. Okay. So you're another who wants to actually use function to create 4 function. Add something. Add function I've already explained here, right? So how I'm adding it, result is equal to $add 1020. You can use similar kind of syntax and you can create function add, function subtract, function divide and function multiply and create a calculator and store the code in a GitHub. That's a starting point, okay? And just as a some kind of additional things, if you want to see in a function how many argument you have received, like till how many $1 to like how many should parse, right? You can do $ then the hash command to see the number of argument. Then if you want to get all positional argument in single word, you can do that easily. Use the $ then star, okay? Like instead of using $1, you can use $hash $star, as simple as that. Then use $@ if you want all positional statement as a separate argument, like a separate value by string, by space. You can get that. And of course, you already by now know that using $1, you can get the first argument, $2, you get the second argument, and this is how you can get all the arguments. But if you want to get the very last argument, you can use the $_. That will give you the last argument that you have supplied to you. Okay. Again, I have given all that you needed to be practice all that, so you can use that as a reference material. If ultimately you are not able to program this calculator part, I have already uploaded the calculator program along with some other self-scripting and all that. I will after the video is done, I will create in the description section I will update that particular repo link. Okay, so not to worry, we'll have that sooner or later. Another very interesting stuff in the array. That's just like the way I say that you want to go long, you don't go by walking, you go by some kind of vehicle, right? So here also, if you have too many things to process, you don't mention one by one string. You use better ways, like you use loop, like you use array to say you have 10 items, 20 items, 30 items, right? You put that value in array, then you can loop through each item. You can do lot of stuff. You can update the values. You can remove the node that you don't need it, right? You can do a lot of stuff, these kind of operations. So what exactly is the array? Just if you guys are new to programming. So array are a data structure that allow you to store multiple values in a single variable in self-scripting, and you can access the individual elements of the array by using the index. So for example, in self-script, we can define array like this. So fruit is equals to parenthesis or first bracket, then apple, banana, orange. These are the various apple values, man. You can put any values that you like. But important point here, you have to give the space. So if you are defining an array, then you are supposed to give the space in between the strings or numbers or whatever you want to store. See, then after you define, say the fruits is the array, so fruits is equals to parenthesis, then each item. So fruit 0 is equal to apple, fruit 1 is equal to banana, fruit 2, index 2 is equal to orange. So array always start from 0, just like any other programming language. This is no different. Okay. Now, working with arrays, I have given what are the different ways you can work with different arrays. Say how get the last element, you give the -1. Then if you want to get all elements space separated, you use the @of. Then you want to get just how many number of item is in the array, you use that hash, then the array name, and then in the third bracket you give @sign. So you get it. So this kind of things are very useful if you are going to work with lot of things. Okay, this is a pretty basic example, but you're going to work with complex stuff. Ultimately, complex stuff is actually maybe the basic stuffs, right? So you understand the basics, you can work there, because this one, this how mentioned I'm going to execute in shell, nothing new to do. You run how I mentioned in the document, it's going to work and execute exact same way. So nothing new to show in the console. Okay, but it's good to know all this stuff. Now, if you want to make a loop and loop through all the item in the array, you can use this iteration. See, I am running a for loop here. So for I in dollar array name, what it does, it send me that what are the total number I have. So see that number of elements, dollar, then this array, all elements separated. Remember the for loop while learning, we are giving values is separated. Here also you are doing the same thing. So we are giving for I in array item. So all things are separated, is going through a single item. Then make sure that you use this semicolon, then do, because if you miss these two things, well, people, if anyone starting new actually miss three stuff. This semicolon they miss, this do statement they miss, at the end they forget to add the done. So while learning, while practicing, make sure that you do exact how the syntax is specified in this document or any document you follow. Okay, it's not like my document is an exact absolute thing. Everywhere will find the difference. Okay, so this is how you can look through the array, which is one of the most common thing we do as per our different requirements. Okay, now let's go to the debugging part. Now in shell scripting, so you're saying Vikas saying I don't have the, okay, go from the beginning. This is starting from very basics. You go from the videos very beginning, you will learn the shell scripting. That's how what I'm teaching today, basic shell scripting, right? So anyway, if you use set x, like for example, okay, set x, and then you do num is equal to 10, num2 is equal to 20, res is equal to num120, all that. See all this, if you in the in console, you will see num, I think, let me hide, I think it's visible, so I don't have to hide myself. So num1 is equal to, you will see all that things you did, all the command is the line by line executed, it will show in this particular console. And this thing, if you have ever run the AWS code build or any, say GitHub actions, those kind of stuff, you see in the shell, you see what are the code getting executed and every debugging there, right? This is how they do it. Maybe they have some better way, but this is one of the very easiest way also you can achieve in your shell if you want to do that. Okay, now there are other ways, debugger and check logs. You can use official, like lot of debugging application available in the shell itself. You can add a lot of extension. Specifically, if you go to that this VS Code, there are a lot of debuggers available. So you can use all the stuff. You can practice it. Okay. For VS Code specifically, I will ask you to, if you are doing the shell script programming, go to the extension. Maybe I will show you pretty quick. Okay. Give me a moment. VS Code. Just 2 minutes. I don't want to make sure that I don't show any client data by mistake or such. So I have to actually be pretty careful. Give me 1 minute. Okay. Okay. Now let me show you quickly. This is the one. Hope you guys see my VS Code screen. If not, do feel free to let me know. I'll definitely quickly check that one. See, you go to this particular extension. Again, if you're doing programming, I always do for any programming, be it shell programming, be it Python, which I'm going to teach you next month, could be anything, right? You always use whatever the resource that is available to you to do better programming. Okay, so see, first thing that you go to the this extension part of VS Code and search by shell. Be patient. As a programmer, we have to be very patient, to be honest, because sometimes build run for for hours. See, the first one, shell used by the 1,98,000 something. You install this one and this shell syntax. This one, okay, this two actually is pretty much whatever you need. This two I also use, but if you use Docker file and other stuff, see, this is support ignore statement and all that, you can use the shell format. So I think whatever I see that could be potential, I actually install and try it. I will say the same thing to others. Basic, this shell is good. This one and this shell syntax part, this two is good to go for the shell part. Okay, this is what to cover. I think I show you. Now let me move to the proper screen. Yeah, this one. Okay, I hope you guys understand the basics debugging part. ZX is really great way. Otherwise, you debug and you use the VS Code, that part. Install the shell, that particular plugin, and it will automatically install, automatically highlight. You have to click on install, then it will automatically configure your environment in the VS Code, and you program that. If any error, it will prompt you. Okay, this you're doing wrong. This will help you in the programming. Okay, so like what are the, like we learn about the basic programming, if statement, we learn about the conditional statement, we learn about like, loops, for and while. So we do learn all that. This is a pretty basic stuff. Advanced stuff is coming next week. So but we learn the basic thing, basic shell scripting, how to work on, how to write, how to execute, and up to your imagination and your effort, what are the things you want to do. I was asked start by very basic step. So baby step, I can say hello world, then do this, adding some kind of file checking, then reading files, then pipe statement, grep statement, then some kind of very, that read files that and using while statement, then write your own calculator script. That is very good exercise. I started with the calculator one, to be honest, while I was, learning shell scripting in Ramakrishna Mission. So yeah, that was actually the one I also giving the same way, similar kind of teaching. If my teacher is watching now, he'll be happy, I guess. So yeah, indicating shell scripting with other tools. There are many applications, to be honest. One of the most famous application of shell script in the world is the cron job. In a particular point in time, you want to execute some stuff. Maybe you are cleaning up your environment. Maybe you are cleaning up your resources. Maybe you are removing your temporary that folder. Maybe you are sending mails. Maybe you are doing some data processing. Could be anything. Okay, if you are doing all the stuff, cron jobs in a particular point in time, maybe in the morning, maybe in the night, maybe you are scheduling some kind of restart at a particular point in time to make sure system are all good. You can do all the stuff using cron jobs. What are the other application? You can do database management system. Suppose you have DBMS. Okay, you want to make a backup every single day, that quickly make a backup of your database and store in S3. And you can do that very easily in shell scripting, isn't it? You run a data dump script, whatever the this database is. Maybe it's a WordPress, maybe it's say MongoDB. You can use MongoDB. Maybe it's MySQL. Then you have this MySQL export, I think, option. There's a lot of option anyway. Then you pgdump, PostgreSQL, a lot of database backup commands you have. Use that command to backup in a zip file or tar file or whatever file you want to store that, and you can quickly run that S3. You configure your shell environment in AWS or maybe other cloud provider and quickly send to the object storage. That way we can maybe back up the things. Kind of very pretty basic example that given. Again, it's up to your application that you want to do. Web application. Shell script can be integrated web applications such as WordPress to automate tasks, backups, update, and migration. And not just, I'm not talking about particular to the WordPress. Suppose you have used that what is that free HTTP certification? I forgot. Guru can remind me. That one I think I forgot, to be honest. There is a one shell script that's not HTTP certification provider that's do is for complete free of cost. Now, but there is a limit. You have to renew that, or you have to execute a certain script for 45 or 40 days, or maybe 90 days to be honest. I exactly don't know the date, but I think by 90 days you have to do re-execute to renew the certificate. If you don't renew the certificate, that if you go to any browser, any user come to your site, it will show, okay, certificate expired. Maybe this site is an authentic site. This kind of error might come. In order to avoid that, you should run using the cron job. You should do that, and shell scripting actually getting used to renew the certificate for a particular website. That's very good use case as well. Now, another one is for this one, that is monitoring and logging. So, what about monitoring logging? I think in the beginning I was mentioning, if you're running a particular Linux OS, for example, could be any variant or any flavor of Linux, but we need to, as a DevOps engineer, we need to know exactly in a point in time how much was the CPU usage, how much was the RAM usage, because there might be some incident, maybe some DDoS that are happening, maybe someone doing something. We asked by our C-level executive or maybe team lead, there's something, check out what happened at that time. What was the CPU state? What was the RAM state? What was the memory? Why maybe this programming crashing? We need logs. We need the stat at a particular point in time. We need all the data. Now, using shell script, we can send the data, this matrices, to any maybe database, any metric saving plus, let's say for example, you can use a CloudWatch custom metric to store all the data in the CloudWatch or maybe in the DB. It's up to you. Maybe Logstash, you store the logs, maybe use the Kibana and all this technique. After getting the Logstash log data, you show in the Kibana. So this is a very quick and easy example that the possibilities are limitless of using shell scripting. And yes, it's indeed we are using shell scripting to do lot of these stuffs. We use shell scripting to store the metrics and send the metrics from the local OS. We use shell scripting to update the system using yum, apt and all these packages, right? So we use all the stuffs. That's what we do as a as a DevOps engineer job, as a cloud engineer job. Okay. Now the last one, version control system. Shell script can be integrated with the version control system. This is Git. You can see the Git shell and all that. I think you might already be aware. If not, yeah, Sandip, and yeah, I think this is the one I was actually forgetting. Let's Encrypt will help you to get HTTPS certification for free. That one using chatbot, you should be reviewing that. So yeah, those one was there. Okay. So yeah, these are these are not the absolute. I'm just giving you very few example. There could be n number of things that is possible by shell scripting, and I've actually prepared a very cool backup script for you guys. So if you are if you ask me, Sandip, how we are going to create backups, I am created a very quick sample here. Okay, so what is doing here? We have a source directory, you have a destination directory, and pretty basic. Okay, I'm using rsync command and to create a very exact same sync. And I'm confirming, okay, if all that done, then backup is complete. And then after getting the backup, you can use say S3 CLI or such kind of like AWS CLI to sync the data or move the data to S3. You can do all that. That way your local memory will free up a bit. Okay. Another example is system maintenance script. So what is system maintenance? System maintenance is another common use case for shell scripting. Of course, shell script can be used to automate routing tasks such as creating the or checking the disk space and cleaning up the old log files, updating software and other tasks that is required to keep the system running smoothly. Now, if you see in this particular example, what I'm doing here, I'm simply checking that, okay, what is the disk usage. So I'm running a particular peculiar looking command. Again, you don't have to be very tough on yourself to understand this. This is the dm-h command. If you watched my last session, you could have understand it by now. If not, no worries, you can check the last session. So yeah, here I'm checking that it is the disk usage of a particular Linux system, a particular machine or instance, whatever it is reaching 80% or more. If it's reaching, it's a G command, like greater than equal, is it GE dash G, that means greater than equal to 80, then what? Then send an alert to particular, like I'm sending a email to the particular email, like user.exam.com. It could be your email, right? And maybe it's better if you have some better email or SMTP server integration, you can send a proper email also. That's good. So you can do all that via this kind of shell scripting itself. Of course, current world, there are a lot of APN tools, but they doesn't come cheap, right? They come with a lot of, I would say, very hefty cost. So you can save all the money if you this small things, very small things, disk checking. You can similarly do say RAM check, like say the RAM checking. You can memory checking. You can do your CPU checking. You can do all the stuff, right? And you can alert the users instead of using any expensive tool. As a starting point, you can start with this, and you can make things more better, right? Sooner or later. Another is kind of a challenge and build a simple calculator that I'll be again when sharing this document. I want kind of a bit quick example I've given. So like this is what you're supposed to do. This division part I actually intended make it incomplete because you'll see, you'll try to build the calculator and you'll see the problem why I want it to try and use the mathematical library. Okay, now that's it. I fortunately made it quick. So now you learn in this session you learn the basic shell scripting, and your first assignment you create your GitHub repo and write a script file, then tag me in LinkedIn or Twitter. I don't care if you don't, or maybe in this video's command you tag, just say, sir, I have written, Sandip, I have written this particular script in my GitHub. It works good. I will quickly take a review. It doesn't work, then of course must mention that I tried, didn't work. I will definitely, okay, as much as humanly possible. I want my other viewers who are able to suggest me and may check to this other users who didn't able to done. Okay, this is how we can help each other learn self-scripting. Now, again, I might be repeating myself, but self-scripting is absolutely necessary to become a cloud DevOps engineer. You show me any user, any people out there in the world who working as a DevOps engineer, cloud engineer, don't know self-scripting. I think zero chance you'll find such kind of guy. Everybody knows that. You have to know it and learn it. Okay. Again, thank you everyone for staying this long. If you, I think you guys already maybe subscribers, but in case anyone not in this, of these channels, or you are watching on LinkedIn, do feel free to follow me. I do try to make content as much as possible, even though I'm doing some kind of hectic job these days. So much complicated stuff I'm handling, but it's very fun to do that. Life will be boring if you don't don't handle complicated stuff, to be honest. Now, do learn this, do try that, subscribe my channel and follow LinkedIn so that you'll get notified. This document I'm going to attach in the YouTube description section, YouTube comment section. In my LinkedIn, I will post as soon as possible after I get my lunch done. Okay, I will post it. See you there in my next session. Bye.